Alright, we should be live any second. And there we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Barnon11970. Thank you, as always, for listening to what I have to say. And I welcome all of my free thinkers and Barnon warriors to my little shindig, shall we say. It is 8:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 23rd of March, 2017. First thing I wanted to do is give a little update on the situation yesterday with the interesting guest I have living currently under the bottom of my house in a crawl space in the basement, the raccoon. The funny thing is, after I made the video last night, I actually, as soon as I was done, I heard a little noise outside, and it was crawling around in the backyard, and I saw it again crawling around the backyard a few hours later. So it doesn't seem like it's suffering. Because first of all, it's moving pretty quick, like it's used to it. Second of all, it doesn't seem malnourished. It was very big. It was thick, so it looked like it was eating well. And it almost seems like it was used to the whatever way it was. So as disturbing as it looked, it may not be as bad as what I originally thought. Now, obviously, it still can't use the bottom. It couldn't use the lower half of its body. It was literally dragging it around. But it seemed like it didn't happen like yesterday, and that it was living that way. And even though life probably wouldn't be that easy, it didn't look like it was in pain or suffering. So what I decided to do is let it live, and I'll monitor it. I'm not going to board up the window. I'm going to let them live because, I mean, it's just a crawl space where there's just dirt in part of a basement that's not being used at all, and you can't get access to the regular part of the basement, so it's not really hurting anybody anyway. So I put out some food, I put out a bowl of water, and I went this afternoon to look and see if he was under there, and he wasn't there. So whether he's gone or whatever, I'm not sure at this point. But again, it just didn't seem like it was suffering, and maybe it was a birth defect. And the first thing I want to say is thank you to all the people that were leaving their advice and their kind words. I mean, I had a platitude of different situations. Some people said leave it alone. Some people said call a vet. Some people said put it out of its misery. And I really thought about it. And I want to explain something, which is why the title of this video. Because as usual, I have my moronic trolls who are people who make up fake accounts so they can anonymously hide behind a computer and say stupid things. The good thing about negative people like that, and how I always teach or try and teach people how you could take positive out of negatives, is when I read some of the moronic statements that one or two people will make for whatever reason, whether it's for their own self-amusement or they just like being mean, what it made me understand and appreciate more about myself is I'm so glad I'm not those people. Because, yes, was I emotional yesterday? Absolutely. I don't know what it was. I think it was the fact that I was able to get so close to this thing, and it was literally for what seemed like a lifetime. We were staring, like looking at each other, eyes locked. And I can almost sense like it was, it knew its situation and wasn't, I just felt empathy for this creature. And I think that's something that those people that were trying to leave nasty comments for whatever reason don't seem to have. So I don't apologize or feel bad or regret my emotion. It doesn't make me less of a man because I feel, and I feel for another living creature. Because there were just like I said, one or two said such stupid things like, it's just a rodent. And to me, I don't view life that way. I mean, if you view a cow as just a regular animal, I mean, you could slaughter it and eat it. I mean, I'm not here to preach. Whatever you want to do with your life is what you want to do. But to me, life is life. And especially if you're a religious person, I mean, God created, supposedly, all different forms of life. So why are we any better or worse than anything else? So to me, what I want to teach people on this channel is it's okay to have emotion, because that means you care. And there will be some people that can't feel that way or won't feel that way. And that means they don't have empathy. And they could actually insult somebody at a moment where they're just doing nothing but caring, because that's all I was doing. I was selflessly caring about another animal, another living being that would not have benefited me in any way. And I think it was just the fact that I felt so bad for this creature that had to spend whatever amount of life, either before or after, crawling around with just half of its body working. What kind of life must that be? And I felt such empathy that it affected me. And what I want to teach people is never feel bad for who you are. Never apologize for who you are or hide who you are. Now, there are going to be some people in this world that no matter what you do, there are going to be people that hate you. I mean, if somebody's going to send hate to me and send nasty messages because I had an emotional reaction to a animal that looked like it might have possibly been suffering, you know, those are people I'm glad I'm not. And I just want to say something really quick as far as the video. For some reason, the live chat is not working. I didn't disable it, so I apologize, but that's YouTube's end. And it looks like my video card driver is froze, and they're trying. It's if I touch anything, it's just going to shut off. So if that happens, it's not me, and I'm not signing off. It's just YouTube and what it does. So as far as having empathy, that's a beautiful thing, and it seems to be a rare thing these days, where there are plenty of people in this world can look the other way. I mean, I remember even when I was in my early 20s, when I used to work in the city, I used to work for TWA at the time. I used to work at 2 Penn Plaza, which was right above Penn Station. And every time that I would get out of work, there would be this homeless person sitting on one of the steps on the way down to the train station. And you'd see hundreds of people just passing them by, just pretending that that person wasn't there. And every time I saw that person, I would leave change and I would give what little money I could to help the person. Now, it wasn't to make myself feel better or grab attention or make myself feel like a hero. It was just the right thing to do. And I've always been a person that tried their best to care about others. I mean, if you look at my channel, it's all about helping people. I mean, even on my other channel, which is just about comic books, I make videos telling people what books to get, and if a movie comes out, what to look out for, and how to do things correctly as far as storage and things like that. Because there are people in this world that just care more than just themselves. And the people who make fake profiles for whatever reason, just to get off on themselves, to make themselves feel superior, be glad you're not those people that can actually see that rodent, as they called it, and just crush its head with a stone or shoot it because it's just easier. And I look at all life as precious. And if we get to the day where we just have this ego, where we feel we're just far superior because we have a greater way of communicating or a different way of communicating, that arrogance is going to allow us to be the reason why we suffer for so long. The reason why there are wars, the reason why there are people that will put money over maybe a solution to a problem like curing a disease or feeding the hungry. And for whatever reason, there are people who will just be cruel. And be glad you're not those people. So I want to thank the two losers that made their fake profiles, who hid behind their computers to, I guess, get their backs patted for doing such a great job of being an anonymous coward, who said the nasty things about a video about me getting emotional and showing empathy for a suffering creature. I say to you, I am so glad that I am not you. And I'm sure many of my subscribers that are here for the real reason are glad they are not you. Because I will tell you this, I would rather get emotional about caring about an animal because I have the ability to feel and to have empathy than to be a person who is a walking piece of garbage that can allow cruelty to happen, who finds suffering amusing and entertaining, who can be vicious and cruel and mean for their own pleasure. And I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't trade how they feel about caring for this world. Those are the people that become the banksters, the corporate owners, the politicians, the ones that will take that little bit of fiat currency to do someone else's bidding, to make others suffer or to look the other way. So I could have easily just said, it's just a raccoon. But what I saw was a suffering creature. And when we locked eyes and I saw the struggle that it had, I felt for that animal. And I will not apologize, nor will I feel bad that I showed emotion for it. I'm proud of it that I can feel. And those that mock me for it, that's for their own judgment for me to worry about. And I want to teach people that pay attention to what I say and care about what I say, that if you care for an animal and view it as another form of life and not something beneath us, there's hope in this world. Because that's the reason why there are people who can slaughter animals on a daily basis and think nothing of it. That's one of the reasons why my wife is a vegan and I've become a vegetarian. It's because I choose to not just allow somebody else to kill so I can feed myself, and there are plenty of things that grow out of this earth that I can live on and survive quite well, because I can never do it. So as far as that raccoon is concerned, like I said, I went earlier to see if he was down in the basement. In the crawl space, I couldn't see him, so he's either in a corner that I couldn't see, out running around or crawling around, or left. But I decided I left a bowl of water out by the entrance. I left some food, and I'll do that until I see that it's dead or it just hasn't come back. But it definitely looked like it may not have been a recent accident. It looks like it might have been a birth defect or something, and it's living with this disability. And I cared about a creature, and I'm fine with that. So I wanted to thank the 99% that sent honest advice, who cared, who showed sympathy, or just fellow empathizers. And I want you to know that you should be proud that you're the type of person that can feel. And they're going to just be people who will insult you for it. But just be glad you're not them. But never apologize for who or what you are. Because that's some of the problems in this world. We so change our lives or hide our lives for fear of judgment or attack from people that really will never affect our lives in any way, shape, or form. Because the people that said the nasty things and continue to say the nasty things, and the 6 or 7 people who thumbed down a video that was basically having empathy for a suffering animal, those people, they are who they are. And I'm just glad they're not them, that I'm not them. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. But it's easy to do that. It's easy to be a coward that hides behind a computer, who makes fake profiles for whatever reason. Whether they get paid to do it or they get off doing it. It's unfortunate. But until we learn that it's okay to be who we are and stop worrying about what everybody thinks, because none of those people that said those nasty things will ever put food on my table, will ever be there if I'm sick and need a caring person near me, who is not anyone I will ever have to rely on. And thank goodness for that. So they mean nothing. So their words don't really affect. And that's what I want to teach people. Don't let it affect you. Yes, you might read something and it might affect you for a second, but don't let it destroy you. Because obviously, a person that feels the need to want to hurt somebody who cares or thinks differently is somebody that has issues that they are too afraid to ever address. And it's always easier to lash out on someone else's account than to try and fix themselves or even realize themselves that they need to change. So I wanted to thank everybody that was caring enough. And again, I apologize The live chat wasn't disabled or anything. It's just YouTube. It's not letting it go on for some reason. And I'll probably get cut off any second now. So I don't want to make this too long. So to all of you who care, to all of you who have empathy, to all of you that actually worry about other people than them just themselves, I say be glad for who you are. Never apologize, and be so thankful you're not the few that can look the other way or do cruel things, because that takes no effort. Thanks for watching. Have a great night, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.